Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're plunging into something. Well, it sounds simple, but the source material suggests it's a really powerful technique for changing how you sound when you speak English.
Hmm.
Our guide here is the English Dose podcast, and our mission is to unpack what they call the shadowing technique.
Right.
We want to get into what it is, why they say it works, and crucially, how you can actually use it. The idea is moving from English that maybe feels a bit stiff,
A bit robotic, maybe?
exactly robotic, to sounding much more natural, much more fluent.
Yeah.
So let's get into this core idea.
Yeah, and what's really interesting is just how straightforward the basic concept is.
Hmm.
The podcast describes shadowing as essentially listening really closely to a native English speaker
Okay.
and then repeating what they say almost immediately,
Mm.
right after them, like you're their vocal shadow.
A vocal shadow. I like that. It paints a picture. But the source makes a point that it's not just repeating words back, is it? It's more specific.
Exactly right. The key thing isn't understanding every single word at first. It's copying the sound. You're really focusing on matching their pronunciation, yes, but also the rhythm,
Mm-hmm.
the ups and downs of their intonation, the whole flow of how they speak. It's this like dual exercise for your ears and your mouth.
Okay, so it trains listening and speaking together. Why does doing this immediate copying, why does shadowing actually work so well according to the source? What makes it effective for fluency?
Well, this is where you see the real power, I think.
Mm-hmm.
They list a few key things. First, pretty obviously, it hammers your pronunciation. You're actively trying to make the same sound, so you're refining how you move your mouth, your tongue.
Right, getting that muscle memory going, not just the theory.
Precisely. Second, it makes your listening sharper. Because you're concentrating so hard on the sound patterns, the rhythm, the tones, you start picking up on subtleties in spoken English you might normally miss. Third, and this is huge for sounding natural, it teaches you authentic sentence stress and tone. Which words get emphasized, how the pitch changes across a sentence.
Ah, the tone. Yeah, that's often what's missing, isn't it? Even with perfect grammar, things can sound flat or, well, robotic, like we said.
Absolutely. Getting that natural cadence is vital. And the fourth thing they mentioned is confidence. Just the act of speaking aloud consistently, even mimicking, it builds your comfort level with actually producing English sounds.
Mm-hmm.
So the source suggests all these things together lead to your English sounding, noticeably more natural and fluent over time.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense, like a full workout for spoken English. But how do you actually do it? What are the practical steps the podcast recommends?
Yeah, it's refreshingly simple, which is great. They suggest starting with a really short audio or video clip,
Mm-hmm.
something manageable,
Like how short?
maybe 30 seconds, up to a minute, tops, especially at first. Could be from a podcast, like the source itself, or a movie scene, a YouTube clip, whatever you find clear.
Okay, short and focus. Good.
Yeah. So, first step,
Mm.
just listen once or twice to get the main idea. Understand the context.
Right, just get the gist.
Exactly. Then, you play it again, and this time, you shadow. You repeat right after the speaker, trying to match their speed, their rhythm, their intonation as closely as you can. You might almost feel like you're talking over them a bit.
So not waiting for pauses, but really trying to stay right behind them, like that shadow idea.
That's the idea, yeah.
Yeah.
Follow closely. And the crucial thing they emphasize for this to work is consistency.
Okay, daily practice.
Yes. Practice that same short clip, repeating it, mimicking it for just 5 or 10 minutes every day. That small, regular effort, they say, that's what makes the real difference.
5 or 10 minutes. Yeah, that actually sounds doable, even if you're busy. So connecting this back to you, the listener, the source uses a nice analogy, actually. It's like learning a song. You listen, you try to sing along, maybe mumbling at first, getting the words, the tune, the timing, until it just feels natural to sing it.
Exactly. And look, it probably will feel a bit strange at first, maybe awkward talking along like that.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But the source is pretty clear. Just trust the process. It might seem like simple copying, but that intense focus on the sound is what's actually rewiring your ear and your mouth.
And the payoff they promise is pretty compelling. With that consistent 5-10 minutes daily, you should start hearing your pronunciation get clearer, feel your English becoming more natural, more fluent, week by week. It really comes across as a practical tool.
So yeah, the shadowing technique, as laid out by the English Ghost podcast, seems to offer this direct route to sounding more native-like just by systematically copying how native speakers actually sound.
Which brings us to a final thought pulled from that idea in the source. If just 5 or 10 minutes a day of really focused listening and mimicking can make such a difference in how natural your English feels, What other small, consistent practices, maybe just a few minutes daily, could unlock really significant progress in your own learning journey, whatever skill you're trying to improve? Something to maybe think about as you consider giving shadowing a go.